Morning. Cross your fingers that she stays asleep. Morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. There's wrapping pants. That'd be funny. I'm sure that it could be done. It's very soft. It's like t-shirt material, you know? Very soft. Okay, let's get the milk. Okay. Good morning. Yes, good morning, beautiful book people indeed. Good morning. I've been a parent now, baby rain took our parents. Oh, they do need help. It's bad. Some of it is really bad. And some of them just like actively don't care. Like there's some that are purposely posting bad ones to get views, which I think is so nasty because it's like a real baby in there. It's like, oh, I don't know, breaks my heart. Hey, Steph. There's one who, like, no matter what people say to her, she just posts worse and worse ones all the time, walking around, and it's just like, that's negligent parenting. I don't think you should be allowed to do that. Yeah, if they say they need help, I'm more than happy to help, of course. Of course. Happily. I would happily give them any help. Can you imagine this? They did not offer me a Navi one. They just offered a regular newborn doll. Isn't that weird? They were like, we get high commission. I was like, I don't think anyone is going to buy this from me. I don't think the percentage of commission could really sway me here. No. The ones I want to get is like books for baby book club. Wouldn't that be amazing if like the people on TikTok shop who wrote kids books would give us stuff? Like that would be the win, right? That I can get behind. Like I'll take those samples and I'll use the stuff and then I'll promote it because like I like that, you know? That's funny, Amanda. That would be cool, right? Or even books for regular book club. Like if an author, I mean, we did a TikTok shop one before. It wasn't our favorite book in the end, but, you know, we read it. Didn't we? Oh, Giles. Oh, Giles. I'll never forget you. Oh, Giles. I know we are, but I'm so excited to be on the ship. Oh, that's exciting. That is exciting, making it. I'm thrilled for you. Maybe if she stays asleep, we'll finish the book today. Had some good laughs with that book. That's right. See, even if it wasn't our favorite book, we had a good time. And all of us that were here have a lot of inside jokes and memories about it. So you can't call it all bad. Am I right? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about it, is that there were good memories. I overslept, so I'm going to the gym at noon. Glad I'm here for a little bit. Yes, we are glad you're here for a little bit. Oh no, this one's empty. Our Nespresso order is a smidge on the late side, so we are running woefully low on pretty much all the coffee pods. which is a bummer. But hopefully it'll arrive, I don't know, today or tomorrow, something like that, maybe. It's true, they are going nuts on bad routes. It's true. There's so many that like are upset. Like, you know what I saw today? The Maeve carrier knockoff, not their brand, but a different one listed on TikTok Shop as for newborns. That carrier would barely have fit her when she was 4 months old, like size-wise. I didn't use it for her, obviously, but I'm just like saying, like, size-wise, that's the type of child that it fits. So people advertising that for newborns are basically suffocating newborns. That's what they're doing by telling parents that it's okay to use that with a newborn, because it's not. They're not rated for newborns. They're rated for the weight of a newborn, but not the length of a newborn. That's the problem. Thank you. So in case you're wondering why we're in this sling and not the rainbow wrap today, yesterday when we were out and about, we had a blowout. And so the wrap is hanging dry right now because, whoops, you know, it got a little poopy. So it had to go in the wash. And then it has to dry. So we're using our backup sling while it dries. First blowout out of the house, yes. And first blowout in a wrap ever, or a carrier ever, yeah. It got all over her. It got all over me. It got all over the wrap. Yep. Yep. It was intense, I'm not gonna lie. We both immediately got in the shower when we got home. Yeah. The good news is we didn't have to drive home because we were walking distance away. So at the bare minimum, at least we didn't like have to put her in a car seat to get home all a mess. I just walked home. It was an experience. Yeah. Yes. Yes. It was an experience. Yes. You had a rough night too? Oh, Susan, I'm sorry to hear that. She just wasn't having it last night. And she woke up extra early this morning and like would not sleep anywhere that I gave her the option to sleep. Like, she would not sleep in her crib. She would not sleep on me. She would not sleep in our bed. Like, you name it, she would not sleep there. She had all the options and she said no thank you to all of them. So, all right, let's put down the coffee. Oof. Oh, geez, that was almost really bad. My son was up screaming asleep. Oh my gosh, why? That sounds sad. Is he okay? Is he not feeling well, or did he just have a bad dream? Put this on the tripod. We're gonna read as much as we can before this tiny human awakens. Growing pains. Oh my gosh, that's the worst. That sounds so sad. Oh my god, that's heartbreaking. Okay, if I put you there, her face is covered. This is good. He only calmed down with Motrin, then probably, yeah. Because he's past teething, right? Ah, delightful. I'm gonna love things covered in poop. Well, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's literally what happened. Yeah, I hope he feels better soon. Jeez, poor little guy. All right, well, he isn't getting any new teeth right now, yeah. Oh, 4 hours. Jeez, guys. Jeez. Does not sound good. No, no, no. Well, on the plus side, look where we're at. We've got, like, nothing left. Depending on how long she stays asleep, we might finish this, which could be very cool. Very, very cool. We're so close. We just have this. All right? So, let's get into it. We are in the middle of a battle
between Alex and Esmia, and I'm gonna go back a little bit so that we can enjoy some of the stuff. I know it's Friday, very fun. Although I do work all weekend, but you know, that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna go back a little just so we can kind of refresh a little bit of what we read yesterday, because she was a little screamy pants at the end, and so it'll kind of just like get us back into the, you know, the mode of where we are, if that makes sense. The enchantress glanced sideways at Charlotte in the cage, and it all of a sudden dawned on her. Charlotte was not the fairy godmother's granddaughter after all. Esmia slowly strode over to Alex, looking her up and down like she was an interesting piece of art. So, you're the fairy godmother's real granddaughter, I take it? Esmia said, and she began circling her. Alex never lowered the wand. She was ready to strike if Esmia showed any sign of doing the same. It's interesting that we have so much in common, Esmia said. We're both from the same place, we both have magic in our blood, and we both possess extraordinary ability. We're nothing alike, Alex snapped. I could never do all of the horrible things that you've done. A smile then appeared on Esmia's face. Oh, that's where you're wrong, she said. You see, I came into this world just like I'm assuming you did, full of excitement and promise. I wanted to do so much good work. I wanted to help so many people and give to those that needed me as much as I could. But then I learned a very harsh lesson. The world doesn't always give back. I am not a tragic case of the world. I am the world. I am cruel and unfair, and not a fairy tale. People are not born heroes or villains, no. They're created by the people around them, and one day when your bright-eyed and bushy-tailed view of life gets a first-hand taste of reality, when bitterness and anger first run through your veins, you will discover that you are just like me, and it'll scare you to death. Alex shook her head and she gripped the wand even tighter. No, Esmia, I will never be like you, she said, because I would rather have nothing and have a big heart than have everything and have no heart at all. Everything went quiet in the Colosseum, and Esmia's hair was flowing above her, out of control. Oh, snap, Connor yelled. Do you need some ointment for that burn, Esmia? Esmia waved her hand, and the vines covered Connor's mouth again. You're brave with that wand in your hand, Esmia said to Alex, but I'd like to see you cross me with it out of reach. Alex knew that this was her moment. If she wanted to defeat the enchantress for good, this might be her only chance. Fine, Alex said, and she tossed the wand to the ground. I don't need it. The entire Colosseum gasped. Alex, are you crazy? Connor yelled through the vines covering his mouth. Pick it back up! Pick it back up! The enchantress roared with laughter at Alex's carelessness. Oh, you stupid, stupid girl, she said. You must have a death wish. I don't need a wand to defeat you, Esmia, Alex said. Whether I have magic in my blood or not, I'll always have the most powerful magic inside of me. Compassion. And I have enough of that inside of me even for you. What? The enchantress said, amused by Alex's foolishness. She took a deep breath, praying what she was about to say would strip Esmia of her powers forever. Esmia, on behalf of everyone in this room, I apologize for what the world put you through. I forgive you for all the havoc that you caused trying to heal, Alex said. And I'm sorry that your family was killed when you were a little girl. I'm sorry no one was there to comfort you when you had your heart broken over and over and over again. And I'm sorry that the fairies never showed you the kindness that they showed everyone else. And I am sorry that you felt revenge was the only way that you could piece yourself together again. Everyone was looking back and forth between Alex and Esmia like they were in a tennis match. Connor covered his eyes. He was afraid he was about to watch his sister get killed for real this time. The enchantress was taken aback by what Alex had to say. It had been the last thing she expected to come out of the girl's mouth. Esmia didn't know what to do except laugh. She threw her head back a number of times and let out a malicious laugh. It erupted and grew from inside of her. Apology not accepted, Esmia said, and she pointed her finger at Alex and blasted her into the high heavens, but nothing happened. She pointed her finger at her again, and still nothing was happening. Esmea tried with her other hand but got the same result. Esmea's hair lost its magenta color and faded to gray, falling all around her face one strand at a time. The fire in the crater diminished more and more, second by second, until there was nothing left but skulls. The vines around the Colosseum squirmed like dying snakes, losing their grip and releasing people that it held against the wall. "No," Esmea screamed. "No, this is impossible." The room watched in astonishment as magic slowly left the enchantress's body, and Esmea faded into an elderly and decrepit woman too weak to stand on her own 2 feet. The enchantress had lost her power. Alex closed her eyes, and possibly for the first time all day, she exhaled. She turned back to her brother as he brushed the limp vines from his body. He, along with everyone else in the Colosseum, stared at her with enough pride to knock the ceiling off that had once been there. A 13-year-old girl in a headband had been able to do what none of the crowned monarchs could do. Esmea withered away, and she fell to the floor and crawled on her hands and knees. A small cackle came from her as she grabbed a hold of the wand of wonderment on the floor. "Alex, behind you!" Connor screamed, and Alex turned to see Esmea pointing the wand directly at her. As she held the wand, her body and her magic were restored. Her hair flowed above her head again, the fire in the crater ignited again, and the vines began to vibrate with life and started dragging people back to the walls. Without thinking, Connor grabbed a hold of Goldilocks' sword and ran toward his sister, slicing the vines as they tried to seize him. Esmea glared at Alex with an evil smile on her face and in her eyes. "Oh, maybe I was wrong," the enchantress said. "Maybe I will have my own happily ever after all." Alex froze where she stood, petrified to her core. She couldn't believe how quickly the situation had changed. In a matter of seconds, she had gone from victory to defeat. A bright blast shot out of the wand and right toward her. Alex closed her eyes, knowing that it was all going to end. This is how she was going to die. "No!" Rumpelstiltskin yelled, and he came out of nowhere and jumped right in front of Alex. The blast hit him in the chest, and he fell to the ground. Esmea watched in shock as the fatal blast that was meant for Alex hit the only person that she had ever truly considered a friend. Connor arrived at the enchantress's side and sliced the wand of wonderment in half. The wand was then destroyed. The magic from Esmea's body and the enchantments all around the Colosseum once again faded. Alex went to the floor and held Rumpelstiltskin's head in her lap. Connor dropped down next to her, but there was nothing that either of them could do. "You saved my life," Alex said to the little man in her arms. "Why would you do that for me?" Rumpelstiltskin was gasping. His eyes grew heavier by the second. "I just wanted my brothers to have something to be proud of," he grunted weakly, and he smiled up at the twins and closed his eyes for the last time. And then he died in Alex's arms. "Oh no," Connor said. "Poor little guy." A heavy wheezing came from nearby, and the twins looked across the floor to see Esmea crawling toward them. Her body was decaying and wilting at a speedy rate. "Looks like you've won," Esmea wheezed with difficulty. Alex and Connor looked at each other, disgusted. Even as they held the body of her only acquaintance, all Esmea cared about was her legacy. They looked down at her with the most pitying eyes that she had ever been viewed with. "No, Esmea," Alex said. "No one wins when there's loss." And Esmea rolled onto her back and stared up at the smoky sky. With one last rattling breath, her body rotted away until there was nothing left but the memory of what she had once been. With nothing left to validate the anger that that powered her livelihood, the enchantress's body and the soul disappeared, a casualty to compassion. The kings and queens and fairies brushed the vines off their body again and happily embraced one another. The nightmare was over, and their kingdoms were safe once again. King Chance and Queen Cinderella held Prince Hope, and Cinderella wiped the tears of joy from her exhausted eyes. Sleeping Beauty wouldn't let go of King Chase. It was the first time in weeks that they had seen each other. Snow White and King Chandler helped Rapunzel brush the leaves out of her hair, which was a several-person job. Red kissed Froggy repeatedly all over his big frog head. Jack tried dipping Goldilocks for a romantic kiss, but her fugitive reflexes caused her to flip him over her shoulder by accident. Sorry, I missed what Nikki said because that's funny. Thank goodness for YouTube. My boss wanted to call and chat about nothing. Ugh. Barf. Tell him no thank you. We don't chat during book club. I mean, we do, but not with him or her. Where was I? Trollbella walked over to Connor then. Hey, so listen, Trollbella, look, I'm very flattered, but I'm not interested in, he started, but the troll queen silenced him with an index finger placed to his mouth.
No, Butter Boy, let me do the talking, she said. I understand that this day has been hard on you. You watched that squishy girl almost die and narrowly escape death yourself. I just wanted to let you know that I'm in no rush for our wedding. Whether it's in 2 days or 2 weeks, I'll be waiting for you.
Thanks, Connor said, and Trollbella winked at him and walked away, leaving him even more confused than he was before. The fairy council went to the glass jar in front of the golden chair and one by one opened the lids and released the souls trapped inside. The twins watched as the souls of the baker, the locksmith, and the soldier happily flew from the jars and disappeared up into the sky. Yeah, 2 days or 2 weeks. It's very generous of her to allow him the time he needed to heal. They were free at last. The spirits of the king and the musician hovered in the air behind the others, waiting to join the other spirits. The ghost of old Queen Beauty and Gloria floated into the Colosseum up to their long-lost loves. They flew around, over and under and through each other, finally reunited after centuries of waiting. Gloria and the musician looked to the twins and bowed thankfully to them, then disappeared into the sky with the other spirits. The ghost of the king and old Queen Beauty looked lovingly down and waved at Sleeping Beauty and King Chase before they also disappeared. Who is that? Sleeping Beauty asked her husband, and King Chase looked up to the sky and smiled. Well, I suppose there are, guardian angels now. Jack chopped through the lock on Charlotte's cage and she ran to her children. She threw her arms around them. Mom, the twins said in unison. I have never been more proud of you in my entire life, she tearfully exclaimed. Well, that makes 2 of us, a voice said behind them, and the twins turned to see their grandmother. She had just been released from her jar and was back to being her own solid self. The twins got to their feet and gave their grandmother an enormous hug, feeling so grateful that they could finally do so. Grandma leaned over and looked proudly into Alex and Connor's eyes. You 2 amaze me more and more as you get older, she said lovingly to them. Your father would be so proud of you. Alex and Connor smiled at each other, knowing that wherever he was smiling down at them too. The winged horse neighed loudly from the side of the Colosseum. Hey Alex, where'd you find a flying horse anyway? Connor asked, and Alex grinned happily, but then it suddenly faded. Oh no, I forgot about Bob, she yelled. Grandma, can you change Bob back for me? The fairy godmother laughed. She retrieved her crystal wand from inside of her robes and she waved it at the horse's direction. A bright beam of light traveled from the tip of her wand and spun around the horse until he was just regular Dr. Bob again. His head shook and he found his balance dizzy from the transformation. Bob? Is that you? Charlotte gasped. What are you doing here? I couldn't let you have all the fun, could I? He laughed, and Charlotte ran to his side and kissed him. The twins had to look away for this. You won't believe what he went through, Connor told his mom. He was almost eaten by bears and sharks, and he was captured by the sea witch, and we'll let him tell you the rest of it, Alex said while dragging her brother away. She figured it was best to give her mom and Bob some privacy. The twins and their grandmother looked to the edge of the Colosseum and out over the charming kingdom. The sun began to set, painting the sky a beautiful rosy shade. I'm sorry that we ran away from the house, Grandma, Alex said, trying to sound genuine, but also trying to hide a smile at the same time. Yeah, Connor laughed. I feel so bad about that, he said, not even trying to be sincere. Their grandmother shook her head and looked into the sky, fighting a smile of her own. What am I going to do with you 2? She said. Magic lessons, I think. That would be good. That way you won't sink any more houses. I totally forgot about that, Connor said. Sorry we sank your cottage, Grandma. Magic lessons? Really? Alex asked with eyes as large as she could make, hopping up and down. Yes, I do think you've earned it, their grandmother said. As long as your mother is fine with it, that is. After all this, I don't think she's ever going to be able to tell us no again, Connor said. What was that, Connor? Charlotte asked as she and Bob joined them at the edge of the Coliseum. Oh, Connor said, and he turned bright red. I was just saying that you might have difficulty telling us no from now on because we saved your life and all that. Charlotte squinted at him. I gave you life? She said. You're never going to top that. Connor tried to laugh it off. No, hey, I was just kidding, he said, although there was an obvious element of truth to what he had said. The reunited family of 5 looked out over the land in front of them, and as the sun set in the east, it also set on the reign of the enchantress, and the twins could feel the land of stories sigh with relief. It was paradise once more. Chapter 29. For better or for worse. But first, for coffee for Mommy. First coffee, then more reading. Delightful. Okay. Chapter 29. For better or for worse. All the kings and queens left the charming kingdom the following day to celebrate the news of the enchantress's defeat with their people. Red was the only one who stayed behind because at the end of the week, she, Froggy, Goldilocks, Jack, Bob, Charlotte, and the twins all attended Rumpelstiltskin's funeral. Hearing the news of his final act and what his last words had been, it was hard for the 7 dwarfs to swallow, and so they wanted to make sure the ceremony was everything that Rumpelstiltskin would have wanted. It was a small ceremony in the dwarf forest on the lawn in front of the 7 dwarfs' cottage. The dwarfs had made their brother a casket of glass and jewels from their mines, just as they had for Snow White. He was buried in a daisy-covered field not too far from the cottage. The dwarfs said that Rumpelstiltskin had spent a lot of time there when he was younger, and they knew it would have made him happy for this to be his final place of rest. His tomb even read, Here lies Rumpelstiltskin, the 8th brother of a proud family of dwarves. Oh! You guys, I'm gonna cry! The 8th brother. Aww. Come on, you gotta admit it's kind of sweet. That night, when they arrived back at the charming kingdom, King Chance and Queen Cinderella hosted a dinner to honor the twins and the others who had sailed on the Granny. Connor was seated at the table in the dining hall with a man that sat next to him and started up a conversation. I'm looking forward to this, the man said. I've been missing being a part of the charming dinner parties. Do I, know you? Connor asked him and gave the man a side eye. Connor, it's me, the man said. It's Froggy. Connor shook his head and looked at the man again. He always forgot that Froggy was actually a human, but no matter what physical form he took, he always had the same kind eyes. Your grandmother changed me back as soon as we returned from the funeral, Froggy said. The funny thing is, I've grown so accustomed to being a frog, I had forgotten she had changed me back at all. Do you miss anything about being a frog? Connor asked him. I do miss reaching the books on the top shelf without a ladder, he said. One doesn't realize how useful frog legs can be until you lose them. A twinkle came to Froggy's eye. Speaking of reading, I do have something for you. He reached into his lapel and he pulled out a rolled-up stack of parchment. When we were setting up camp for the trolls, I found these in the Granny's wreckage, Froggy said, and he handed the parchment over to Connor. Oh, my stories, Connor said. I thought these were going to be lost forever. I must admit, I do enjoy them quite a bit, Froggy said. You've got a real knack for storytelling, although I do have a few words of advice for you. Oh yeah, what's that? Connor asked. Never let Red read these, Froggy said. I thought it was very clever writing everyone as trolls, but she would have executed you if she read your interpretation of her. Connor chuckled and playfully punched Froggy's shoulder. No, I really am being serious, Froggy said, and Connor gulped. The others finally arrived and took seats around the table. Jack and Goldilocks looked timidly down at all the silverware, not knowing where to start. Red entered the room and almost blinded everyone with the amount of jewelry that she was wearing. Even for a formal dinner in the charming palace, Red was overdressed. Hey, Isabella. Bob sat down across from Connor, looking unusually tense. What's wrong, Bob? Connor said. You look like you're about to operate on the president or something. And Alex cleared her throat to get Connor's attention.
He's going to propose to Mom tonight,
Alex mouthed when her mother wasn't looking. Oh, Connor mouthed back excitedly to Bob and to his sister. He gave Bob a very unsubtle wink and a thumbs up. Is everything all right, Connor? Charlotte asked. Oh, thank you, Isabella. It's our backup one because we had a blowout in the other one. Alex rolled her eyes at Connor. Yeah, Connor said. I'm just really looking forward to the appetizers. Charlotte studied her son suspiciously, afraid he was coming down with a cold. A footman pressed a tray to Goldilocks with an envelope addressed to her on it. A letter has come for you, ma'am, the footman said. For me? Goldilocks said. Oh, I wonder what it could be. She opened the envelope and she read the note inside. An amused but shocked grin came to her face, and she wasn't sure how she felt about the news that she received. What is it? Jack asked her. It's a note from the Red Riding Hood Castle stables, she said. Porridge is pregnant. Jack and the twins couldn't contain themselves. Each one laughed harder than the next. Buckle, the twins said together. I knew something was going to happen between those two, Connor said. The dinner began, and the room was served course after course of the best food that the twins had ever eaten. Just before the desserts were brought out, Bob tapped the side of his glass with a spoon and got the room's attention. Alex and Connor shot excited looks at one another. This was the moment. Yes, hello. I just want to thank you all so much for having me tonight, Bob said. I'm fairly new to the Bailey clan, so learning about all of you and coming into this world has been, well, honestly, it's been the adventure of my life. And seeing that I happen to be in a room filled with people who make up the greatest love stories ever told, I would like to take this moment for all that it's worth. Charlotte looked back and forth between the twins, seeing if they knew what Bob was up to. They purposely avoided her eyes, waiting on Bob to surprise her fully. He got down on one knee and he presented the ring to her. Charlotte, will you make me the happiest man in, well, both worlds? Will you be my wife? Bob said, and tears instantly filled Charlotte's surprised eyes. Oh, she said, and everyone in the dining hall was on the edge of their seat. Oh yes, I would love nothing more. Bob put the ring on Charlotte's finger and he hugged her, and Alex began to cry, which made Connor's eyes start to water, which ultimately caused everyone else in the room to well up too. It was a picturesque moment, even by fairy tale standards. Oh, you should get married in the palace, Cinderella said from the end of the table. What? Charlotte said, not believing her ears. Please, please, we insist, Cinderella said. Hello. You did not sleep enough. You don't want more now? Hi. You want more sleep? You want to sleep some more? Hi. Hi. Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, you definitely recognize this bib, Susan. Yeah, we go through them frequently. I told you we use them all. I wasn't kidding. Boop. Boop. You want to sleep a little more, or are you all done sleep? Are you all done with sleep? Wait, what happened? I missed whatever Naisa said. What oh no? What are we oh knowing? Where do we think Mommy put the bookmark? Where's Mommy's bookmark, honey? Did I lose it? Oh, it's on the floor. I see. Okay. It fell down. Ugh. All right. Well, if you want to play, we can play. I really think you should sleep some more based on, everything. But what do I know? What do I know, honey? What do I know? I'm just the mommy. I'm just the mommy in the situation. The universe doesn't want it to be pinned. Oh. But what was it? I'll have to scroll back, I guess. Let us do it the Tower of Terror first, and then I'll scroll back. Oh. Okay. Hold on. What did it say? Oh, you're going to cry for the rest of the book. Yes. Okay, that's fair. Yes, crying for the rest of the book. I agree. Yes. Are you ready to cry for the rest of the book? Okay. Let's see, where were we? Oh, please, we insist, Cinderella said, and she took King Chance's hand in hers. We've been trying to think of a way that we could thank you for taking care of Hope when you were being held by the Enchantress. Truly, it would be our pleasure. Charlotte didn't know what to say. She was stunned by this offer. That is so kind, but I don't think that I could ever... Mom! Alex interrupted her. Speaking on behalf of every woman who has ever lived in the other world, you cannot turn down having an offer for an actual fairy tale wedding. I have to agree, it would be pretty cool, Connor said, and Charlotte shrugged. The decision was basically made for her. All right then. I would be honored. Yes, thank you, she said. We have to get back to our jobs in the other world, but I suppose that we could have a quick wedding with our friends over here and then one over there with our friends at home. Everyone raised their glass to toast Charlotte and Bob. And may you live happily ever after, the fairy godmother said. I'm going to move that just in case you decide to topple backwards, and then you'll only fall on soft things, huh? Ooh, that was a big yawn. Ooh, big yawn. Big yawn? Yeah. Red tapped her glass and she stood in her seat. No one looked directly at her because of the reflecting light from all her diamonds. I would like to add to the celebration with some wonderful news of my own, she said. After speaking with the fairies and all the other kings and queens, I would like to announce that the Happily Ever After Assembly has decided to pardon Jack and Goldilocks for all their crimes and waive the warrants for their arrest as a thank you for their daring and valiant efforts in defeating the Enchantress. The room burst into applause and congratulations for the couple. However, Jack and Goldilocks looked the least excited out of everyone. Wonderful, Goldilocks said through a pained smile. Cheers, Jack said, reluctantly raising his glass for the others to toast him. You can move into your old house again, Jack, Red said, which is going to be really convenient because I have decided to build my country home right next to it. Jack and Goldilocks did their best to look as if this was good news, and it excited them. Red went on and on about all the wonderful double dates they were going to have with her and Froggy and all the activities they could do now that they were going to be neighbors. Jack and Goldilocks leaned toward Jack. At least I won't have to feel guilty about making you live a life as an outlaw anymore, she said. No more running from soldiers or close encounters with ogres or sneaking into shops to steal food or sleeping under the stars in dangerous forests, Jack said. It's tempting to live a quieter life, Goldilocks said half-heartedly. Just imagine us living the rest of our days in your manor, watching the grass grow with Red and Charlie. Jack and Goldilocks smirked at each other, both thinking the same thing. They could not imagine a worse fate than that. Goldilocks whispered something into Jack's ear, and a big grin appeared on his face. The twins looked to each other, knowing something was up. Goldilocks stood up from the table and walked over to Red. She endearingly wrapped her arms around her old nemesis and gave her a big hug. What's this all about? Red asked her. Oh, I just wanted to thank you, Goldilocks said. What you've done for us is so generous. I'll never be able to repay you. Red looked like she was about to cry. Oh my god, you're so welcome, Red said. And even though we both tried to kill each other a number of times and I tricked you into going to the house with 3 ferocious bears and you tricked me into going to a bottomless pit, I would really like it if we could all put that aside and let our friendship bloom even more. Goldilocks smiled at her. Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea, Red, she said. Now, if you'll just excuse me, I'm just going to step out for a moment. Goldilocks gave Red another hug and excused herself from the dining room. The dessert was finally served, and Connor looked up and down the table to make sure his piece of cake wasn't any smaller than the rest of theirs. Hey, that's not fair. How come Red got 2 pieces of... Connor stopped himself mid-complaint. Something was different. He was looking at Red without squinting. Hey, Red! Red, where's your necklace? My necklace? Red said, and she reached up to her neck and she screamed when she found that her diamond necklace was missing. That doesn't make any sense. How could it possibly have... Goldilocks. Both the twins turned toward Jack, and he wiped his mouth with his napkin, trying to hide a grin underneath it. Sir Lambton suddenly rushed into the dining room. He had built a reputation of constantly bringing awful news the last few days, and the entire room was silent to hear what he had to say. Yes, Sir Lambton? King Chance said. Pardon my intrusion, Your Majesty, Lambton said. With all due respect, did you give Goldilocks permission to take one of the horses from the stable, or has it just been stolen? Everyone's eyes immediately darted to Jack. Well, looks like that's my cue then, he said, and he stood up from the table. Alex and Connor, it was wonderful to see you two again, and I'd like to thank everyone else for a really lovely evening and a really lovely dinner. Good night. With that said, Jack ran down the dining hall and jumped out of the closest window. Red leapt up from the table and ran over to the window. Froggy and the twins followed her and peered through it. I know, isn't that crazy? Here you go. They arrived just in time to see Jack sliding down the slanted roof and landing perfectly on the back of the horse that Goldilocks held the reins of. They both waved up at Froggy, Red, and the twins, Red's necklace sparkling in the moonlight around Goldilocks' neck. "That's my necklace!" Red yelled. "You bring that back to me at once!" And Goldilocks yanked on the reins, and she and Jack rode off into the night, happy outlaws once again. Red slammed her hands on the windowsill. "I cannot believe that I wasted an ounce of generosity on that woman," she yelled. "Sir Lambton, I want you to put a team of your finest men together and you go after her at once." But I don't work for you," Lambton said. "No excuses, Lambton. Find them," Red demanded. And Lambton looked at King Chance and Cinderella, and they just both shrugged. "Right away, Queen Red," Lambton said with a sigh, and he left the room. Alex, Connor, and Froggy couldn't help but laugh as they watched their friends ride off into the night. As much as it distressed Red, they were happy to see Jack and Goldilocks return to their natural habitat. That's pretty funny, huh, honey? Is that silly? Is that so silly? Is that Mommy's leg you have? You have Mommy's leg? Okay. We might literally finish this, you guys. We got time. Charlotte and Bob's wedding was just 2 days later. The entire palace was decorated with flowers and giant banners. Bells rang through the entire kingdom. In charming tradition, the twins' grandmother transformed their mother's nursing scrubs into a beautiful white gown and veil. Alex and Connor had never seen her look so beautiful, and they both grew a little misty-eyed because of it. They were so happy to see their mom getting the wedding that she deserved. The ceremony was held in the ballroom, and it was so crowded that the twins thought the entire charming kingdom might have shown up. The fairy godmother conducted the ceremony herself. Princess Hope was led down the aisle by her mother and acted as flower girl. Connor was Bob's best man, and Alex was her mother's maid of honor. "Do you, Charlotte, take this man to be your husband?" the fairy godmother asked. "Oh, I do," Charlotte said. "And do you, Robert, take this woman to be your wife?" "I do," Bob said. The vows were only interrupted once as Red loudly blew her nose from the seats, overcome by the ceremony and still upset about losing her favorite necklace. "By the power invested in me by the Happily Ever After Assembly, I now pronounce you husband and wife," the fairy godmother happily yelled out. "You may now kiss the bride." The twins both turned their head the other way and the crowd cheered. Bob, Charlotte, and the twins then got into a carriage shaped like a pumpkin and rode through the charming kingdom streets, waving to all the well-wishers who had gathered there. "I think this family is off to a really good start," Connor said. And that evening, as soon as all the festivities were over, the fairy council met the fairy godmother at the charming palace. They were all on official council business and called together a meeting so exclusive that no one but fairies was allowed to be a part of it. The fairy godmother waved her wand and made a door appear that led into the other world, and she and the other fairies waited for Mother Goose to arrive so she could start the meeting. Mother Goose eventually emerged through the door, dragging her basket of a suitcase and a very defiant and reluctant Lester with her. "Oh, come on, Lester," she said. "I know you love the slot machines, but you can't stay in Las Vegas forever." As if her appearance was any indication, Mother Goose had done a lot of traveling in the last week. She wore a very large sombrero that said Tijuana across it. She had a colorful Hawaiian lei around her neck and a large I Love New York t-shirt with wooden Dutch shoes. A foam finger from a football game was still over her hand. "Looks like you were busy, OMG, Connor said. "Hey, Sea Dog, just because you and your sister saved the world doesn't mean that you get to be sassy with me," Mother Goose snapped at him. "I was afraid that the Enchantress was going to cross over to the other world, so I went to all my favorite places before she could destroy them." Alex looked at her worldly outfit. "I see you went to Mexico, New York, Hawaii, and a football game, but where are those shoes from?" "Amsterdam," Mother Goose said. "They love me over there." "I didn't know nursery rhymes were popular in Amsterdam," Connor said. "Oh, they're not," Mother Goose said. "They don't know me as Mother Goose. I have my own nickname when I visit there." "And what's that?" Alex asked. "Mother Mayhem." The twins just nodded, not wanting to know any of the details. "All right, then let's get this hen in the oven," Mother Goose said, and she clapped her hands. She followed the fairy council into the private drawing room. "Well, it's about time you showed up."
Tangerina said. Mind your beeswax, Tangy, Mother Goose said. No, seriously, your bees are getting crap all over the floor. The fairies shut the door tightly behind them, and naturally the twins placed their ear up to the door so they could eavesdrop as much as possible. Hello. Hi. What are you doing? You're a little drooly. Do you want to play with your bears? Should Mommy help you get to the bears? Can the bear reach the castle? Can you help the bear reach the castle? Look, look, honey, sweetheart, look. Can the bear get to the castle? Can you help him? Look, there he goes. There he goes. Oh no, he fell down. Help him get to the castle. Oh, there he goes. Good job. Help him. Help him get to the castle. He can't do it without you. You gotta help him go up to the castle. He has to pass the tree and the bird and the monkey and the bee. Yeah. The fairies, oh, sorry. The world is still in shambles, the twins heard Esmeralda say in a faded voice that went in and out. We're slowly clearing the eastern kingdom of all the thorn bushes and vines. The northern kingdom has finally rid itself of all the poison food. Esmia's pillar of rock and dirt still needs to be removed. And there's one thing we haven't even discussed yet that involves you, fairy godmother. The twins looked at each other curious. Curiosity consumed their whole beings. I'll be right back, Connor said, and a few moments later he returned with empty glasses from the palace kitchen. He handed one to Alex, and they placed them over the door and up to their ears so that they could hear what the fairies were saying more clearly. You understand how difficult that will be for my family, don't you? They heard their grandmothers. You want to play a song for everybody? Is this a musical now? Help the bear. Yeah, help the bear. You understand how difficult that will be for my family, don't you? They heard their grandmother say. We're not proposing it to be cruel, we're proposing it to be preventative, Skylene said. And if we don't do something now, it'll only be a matter of time before someone else follows in the Enchantress's footsteps, Xanthos said. In the end, it is your decision, Esmeralda said. It's your gift. You were chosen to be the gatekeeper. We can only tell you what we think is best for both worlds. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Very good, honey. Alex and Connor looked at each other. I understand, their grandmother said. And if it's what the rest of you think it's right to do, I cannot ignore that. I just don't know how I'm going to break the news to my grandchildren. She's headbanging as she does this. She's a rock and roll star, you guys. Oh, we're back to the castle now. Okay, good. Help the bear. Help him get to the castle. Look, what's this? This is how he goes. Can you help him? Me too. Me too. Take as much time as you need, Esmeralda said, and the twins heard them start to come toward the door and ran down the hall so that they wouldn't be caught listening. Their curiosity ate them alive for the rest of the day. What was the news that their grandmother was going to have difficulty telling them, and why did it affect her ability to move between the worlds? The twins' imagination didn't do them any favors as they went on what the possibilities could be. She is Swifty.5. It's true. She's a very passionate musician. Very passionate. I hope you're going to buy her album, you guys. Are you going to put out an album of baby tunes? Everybody wants a copy. Yeah. Yeah. She nodded. She's going to do it. Yes. Better be signed. That's right. Yes. We'll put little handprints on them. Beautiful, honey. Sweetheart. Oh. If you do that, it's going to be hard to use. Why don't you play with this? Here. Yeah. It's safer. Yeah. Okay. Luckily, they weren't forced to suffer for too long. That night, after the dinner, the Fairy Council called everyone into the ballroom and filled them in on what they had discussed. It's going to take some time before the world can fully recover from the damage that that the Enchantress caused, Esmeralda said. Esmia may be gone, but the fact is, what she tried to accomplish still remains a possibility as long as the two worlds are joined. Wait, so what are you saying? Connor said, and the fairy godmother closed her eyes, not wanting to see her grandchildren's faces when they heard this. For the greater good, we've decided that we're going to close the gateway between the worlds, Esmeralda said, and Alex felt like she was being told her father was dead or that her mother had been kidnapped all over again. Her stomach tightened and her heart began to beat at a rapid pace. She felt her palms go clammy and the rest of her body went numb. What? She asked breathlessly. How is that even possible? Connor asked. He was also having an incredibly, oh, mommy's a good catch, huh? Yeah, I caught you. Yeah, even while reading, mommy pays attention. Caught. How is that even possible? Connor asked. He was also having an incredibly hard time processing this news. It's possible if we use our magic together, their grandmother regretfully told them. Well, you want up then? You want up? You want help? Here. Here you go. Yeah. What does that mean? Connor asked. What does that mean, that we're never going to be able to see you again? Their grandmother shook her head, happy to report one small consolation. I was able to convince the other fairies to supply us with a way to see each other, she said, and she waved her wand, with 2 long square mirrors with golden frames appearing. We'll be able to see each other using these mirrors whenever we want. We just won't be able to travel between worlds? Connor asked, and their grandmother closed her eyes and nodded her head. It was clearly almost as painful for her to tell them as it was for them to hear it. Alex was shaking her head profusely, tears beginning to run down her face. Grandma, no, please, Alex pleaded. Tell me this isn't true. I'm afraid it is, honey, Grandma said. Alex lost it completely and buried her head in her mother's side. She cried so hard that she was practically silent except for her deep gasps for air. Charlotte tried to remain strong for her kids, but she was also having a hard time keeping herself together. She knew what the news meant for them. And you're just okay with this? Connor yelled, tears spilling from his own eyes. I hate this as much as you do, their grandmother said, but to secure the safety of both worlds, we don't have another option. Connor could only get one word out of his next question. When? He said, and his voice cracked as he fought back emotion. Tomorrow at dusk, grandmother said, waging her own emotional battle inside. That's the sound of the twins' emotion. In case you're wondering what the backing track here was, she's writing the soundtrack to our club, and this is the emotion from the twins. They're wailing with sadness. That's what it sounds like when the twins are sad. Right? Is that what it sounds like when Alex and Connor are sad? Yeah. That's her trumpet. One lone trumpet. Alex couldn't stand to hear any more of it, and she ran from the ballroom and headed up the stairs to her chamber, her hands covering her face as she went. Alex, Charlotte called out, but it was no use. It's when their fists stuff in their mouth. That's exactly right. Yes, that's exactly what the sound was. That's right. Yeah, when Alex collapsed. Yes. Alex shut the door to her chambers behind her and collapsed onto the floor. She cried and cried for hours and hours. She had lived through the fear of losing the fairy tale world so many times, but now it was real. It was actually being taken away from her. Of all the times, her greatest fear had now been realized right after she learned how much potential she had to offer this world, right after she discovered that she had a chance at being the future fairy godmother someday, right after her uncertain future had been set. It was all being taken from her. It felt like the land of stories had always been dangled right in front of her and her brother like a taunting cat toy, and every time they thought they finally grabbed a hold of it, it slipped out of their grasp. She cried until her teardrops dried up and she couldn't cry anymore. She laid on the bed and prayed that there would be some way out of this nightmare. A soft knock came to the door. Alex, can I come in? Charlotte asked from the other side. Sure, Alex said, and Charlotte walked into the room, took a seat on the bed next to her devastated daughter. It's so unfair, Mom, Alex said. After everything that we've been through, after everything that we've seen, why does this have to be taken from us too? Charlotte rubbed her hands gently onto Alex's knee. Alex sat up and looked at her mom. She was crying almost more than Alex had been. Why are you crying so much, Mom? Alex asked. You're not losing anything. Charlotte smiled. Oh, but I am, honey, she said. A year ago, when you and your brother first came back from this place, I knew that I had lost my little girl forever. I watched her grow sadder and sadder the more time she spent away from this place, and I knew that there was nothing I could ever do to help her because her heart belonged somewhere else. Mom, what are you talking about? Alex asked, and Charlotte put her hand on Alex's face and looked at her daughter through the tears in her eyes. I'm saying I'm not going to let you leave this place where you belong, she said. Wild, right, honey? Wow. Wowie, wowie. Seriously, Nikki, seriously. Chapter 30. The goodbye. The goodbye. Hi, beautiful angel. Not you saying her heart belongs somewhere else. And I know, right? She's like, yeah. She's got great comedic timing, you guys. The goodbye. Connor woke up the next morning with a mission. Before anyone else had woken, he ran down to the stables and arranged a carriage to take him to the countryside. He kept his activities a complete secret from anyone else, fearing that they'd stop him if they found out his plans. He didn't return until that evening, just before dusk, and he didn't return alone. The carriage door swung open and 3 additional passengers emerged from it. Connor had brought with him Lady Iris, Petunia, and Rosemary. After they'd spent nearly a decade suffering constant public persecution, Connor offered them the only chance at refuge they had ever received. And after hearing hours of Connor's descriptions, the sequestered family of women finally jumped at this chance. Crazy, right? They were carrying as many of their belongings as they could, and Lady Iris held on to the painting of her late husband. Rosemary held her favorite cooking bowl, and Petunia... Darling. Honey. Sweetheart. Hello. Hi. We're almost done. Look. Rosemary held her favorite cooking bowl, and Petunia had a rolled-up stack of animal portraits under her arm. There's this thing called culinary school that you are just going to love, Rosemary, Connor was saying, further listing the perks of his dimension. And just wait until I introduce you to Animal Planet, Petunia. You're going to love it. Sir Lambton emerged down the front steps of the palace toward the carriage. Hi. Was that silly? Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Here. Here. Good job. Sir Lambton emerged down the front steps of the palace toward the carriage. Hey, what's going on here? He asked Connor. Sweetheart, sweetheart, sweetheart. Honey, are you all done? Can you just give Mommy 1 minute? 1 minute. Yeah. Connor pulled him aside so the women couldn't hear him. I'm taking these 3 back to the other world with us, he said. You're what? Lambton said. Here. I explained everything to them. It took me a while for them to understand, but they do want to leave, Connor said. Lambton, look, they're miserable here. They don't gain anything by staying here. If they come with us, at least they're going to have a chance of a better life. Why would you want to help them? Lambton asked, and Connor sighed, looking to the ground. You okay, sweetheart? Hey, look at Mommy. Okay. Because I'll never be able to help myself. Hey, what's going on? You swallow some spit? Yeah. Here. Bye-bye-bye-bye. Why are we coughing? Really? What was it? Why would you want to help them? Lambton asked. Oh, because I'll never be able to help my sister out. Alex isn't like me. She's going to be miserable the rest of her life without this place. At least if I bring Lady Iris there with us, there'll be something to look forward to. Lambton had his reservations, but he admired the boy's generosity nevertheless. You're a good man, Connor Bailey, he said. Everyone is gathering in the gardens for the final goodbye, so please escort your, guests down there. Inhaled spit is a pretty bad feeling, yeah. Connor nodded and he led the women around the side of the castle to the beautiful gardens. The charming garden was home to an exquisite display of yellow roses, pear trees, and a hedged labyrinth. It was a beautiful place to say a distressing goodbye. Froggy Red, King Chance, Cinderella, and Mother Goose had already gathered in the garden. Cinderella had to do a double take as Connor approached. She hadn't been expecting to see her stepmother and stepsisters walking up behind him. "Stepmother?" Cinderella called out. "Rosemary? Petunia?" And even though they knew that they were headed to the palace, Lady Iris and her daughters had almost hoped they wouldn't run into Cinderella. "Hello, Cinderella," Lady Iris said. "Well, what are you doing here?" Cinderella asked, and she looked down over the belongings they were carrying, answering her own question. Lady Iris thought for a moment about what to tell her. "We've decided that it would be best to leave the charming kingdom," she said. "Oh, I see," Cinderella said, and she didn't argue with her stepmother. Knowing her reasons better than anyone else. "Okay, well, where are you headed?" Lady Iris hesitated to say, "The other world, as fate would have it," she said. "I think a fresh start would do the girls and me some good. We'll be able to live in a place where people won't judge us as harshly or throw rocks at the house or boo us when we leave it." Honey, you moved away from it. That's why you can't reach it. If we move you back toward it. Here, look. See? Now you can reach it. Why are we sad? Whoa. Why are we sad? Honey, why are we sad? What are you doing? Baby. Come here. Why are we sad? Why are we sad? Do you want to go in your chair for a minute? We're almost done. We're almost done. The book is almost over. Oop, feet in. There you go. Oh, so nice. You want your bunny and your pizza? Yay, pizza! Yay! Yay, pizza! Pizza. All Cinderella could do was nod. She might have built a gate around their property, but she could never take away all the oppression that her family faced on a daily basis. "Well, what are you going to do there?" Cinderella asked. "The boy was telling me of a place called Florida that I might be interested in," Lady Iris said. "I'm going to be a chef," Rosemary said. "And I'm going to do something with animals," Petunia said. "They have so many more animals in the other world than we have here. Apparently there's a creature called the honey badger that I hear is fascinating." Cinderella was pleased for them. She couldn't deny that she was sorry to be losing the only family she had outside of the king and the princess. "Oh, I'm happy for you," she said, although they knew better. "We're doing this for you too, Cinderella," Lady Iris said. "You won't have any black sheep to worry about lingering around now. You can raise Princess Hope without ever having to tell her about us if you'd like." Cinderella nodded. "Oh, but I plan on telling Hope everything about you," she said, "especially the part about her grandmother helping a small band of courageous sailors defeat an evil enchantress who took her away from us." "Aw, that's nice, huh?" "Yeah, that's nice. That's nice." Lady Iris hadn't expected them to remember her request. "Did they tell you that I assisted?" she asked. "No," Cinderella said. "They didn't have to." She pulled the ring off of her finger and that she wore next to her wedding ring. It was her stepmother's wedding ring. "The wand..." "I know, honey. I know. Here. Take this." "We're almost done. Here. Almost done. Yeah." "The wand that this was a part of was destroyed, but I recognized the ring. Any girl would recognize her own mother's wedding ring, and I figured that you'd want it back." Lady Iris stared down at the ring. "I don't know what to say," she said, touched by this gesture. The girl that she had been so cruel to was still showing her kindness even now. "Thank you, Cinderella," she said. "You continue to grow into a much better woman than I could ever be." And Cinderella smiled and hugged her stepmother and her stepsisters for the first and final time. Red and Froggy took their lead and started to say their own goodbyes. "I'm going to miss you, old chap," Froggy said to Connor, and he gave him a giant hug. "One more minute, okay? 1 minute." "Yeah, I'm going to miss you too," Connor said. "And just to let you know, whenever I think about you, I'm always going to remember you as a giant frog." Froggy chuckled. "Honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way," he said. And Red kissed Connor on the cheek. "You were the sweetest boy I know, seriously," she said. "And then again, I rarely get to socialize with anyone of a lower age or social class, but still, you're awfully sweet." "Hey, kid," Mother Goose said and pulled Connor aside, and she slipped a blue poker chip into his hand. "If you're ever in Monte Carlo, go to the roulette table on the northwest corner of the Lumiere d'Etoile Casino and bet this on black." She winked at him and patted him firmly on the back. Thanks," Connor said, and the fairy council arrived promptly a few moments later. They took their positions on a big half circle around the gardens to begin sealing the gateway between the worlds. "We're just waiting for the fairy godmother and the others," Emeralda said. "If those of you leaving this world would please take a step forward." There you go. That's a piggy. Connor, Lady Iris, Rosemary, and Petunia all edged forward on the grass, stepping to the center of the crescent shaping the shape that the council formed. "Here they come now," Skylene said. "Here, honey, it's okay. You're okay, honey. You're okay. Look at here, all the toys. All the toys. Yeah, you have all the toys." Connor turned to see his grandmother, Charlotte Bob, and his sister walking down from the palace. Inside voice, honey. La 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 la. La 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 la. That's nice. La 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 la. I know. Are you all done? You're not going to give Mommy a chance to finish. We're so close. We're almost done. No, you're all done? Okay. Maybe we'll finish this tomorrow and we'll start the next book tomorrow also all at the same time. I really wanted to finish it though. You could let me. She's smirking at me like this. Come on. Can we finish it? Okay, just for 2 seconds. Let's see. Bob was carrying one of the golden mirrors that his grandmother had convinced the fairy council of approving securely under his arm. Connor avoided looking at his sister, knowing whatever devastated expression was on her face would make him even more heartbroken than he already was. Honey, sweetheart. La 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 la. Sweetheart, here, look at this. Wow, what's this? Can you touch it? It's so soft. This book is so soft. Wow, you can read that book. As soon as his grandmother reached the garden, she threw her arms around Connor and said a tearful goodbye. "You take good care of yourself, do you understand?" she said to him. "I love you, Grandma," Connor said. "And I love you, my darling boy," she said, and she wiped the tears off of her face. "I'm going to talk to you every Sunday evening through the mirror. I don't care how busy you are. There is no excuse to miss it." She playfully pointed her finger at him. "Yeah, I'll be there," he said. And the sun began to set and the sky darkened. All the fairies in the half circle nodded to one another. "All right, it's time," Emeralda said. "Fairy godmother, if you'll please create the portal for our travelers for the last time." And the fairy godmother reluctantly nodded. She stood in front of the council and they joined hands behind her. The wind began to pick up and circled around them as the spell began, blowing the petals of the pear blossoms around like a blizzard. The fairy godmother waved her crystal wand and cracked it like a whip. A large tear appeared in the air, as if the worlds had been ripped at the seam. Everyone stared in awe, and Connor could see the living room of the rental house on the other side of the portal. "It's done then," the fairy godmother said, and turned back to the other fairies. "As soon as the portal closes, the gateway will be closed forever." At the top and the bottom of the portal, it began to retract inward, and the seam between the worlds started to close for good. Charlotte Bob joined Connor and the women in the center, but Alex stayed behind with the fairies. "Alex, come on, let's go," Connor said to his sister. Alex didn't move. For the first time, Connor noticed that she wasn't wearing her normal clothes. Instead, she wore a bright blue robe that sparkled like the night sky, just like their grandmother's. A headband was made of the same white flowers that their grandmother wore, and it was in Alex's hair instead. And she had a long crystal wand, also just like their grandmother's. "Alex, why are you dressed like that?" Connor asked. And Alex's eyes welled up instantly. She looked from her mother to her grandmother for support and took a deep breath before breaking the news to him. It's because I'm staying, Alex said. Connor felt like he'd been kicked in the stomach. You're what? He said. Alex knew had. Honey, 1 second, okay? Just 1 second. Alex had known this would be one of the most difficult moments of her life, but she could never have imagined it was going to be this hard. Shh, sweetheart. Shh, shh, shh. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Wow. I'm staying here with grandmother, Alex said. I was going to tell you this morning, but you were gone by the time I woke up. Connor couldn't believe what he was hearing. He didn't want to believe it. He turned to his mother, hoping that she would talk sense into his sister. Mom, tell Alex that she's crazy if she... Honey, sweetheart, honey. Yeah. Mom, tell Alex she's crazy if she thinks she's staying here, he said. But his mother didn't immediately reprimand her like he'd expected she would. She just gazed at Alex with large and watery eyes. She's telling the truth, Connor, Charlotte said. And Connor looked back and forth between them, shaking his head. No. This can't be real, he said to himself. Why would you ever let her do something like that? And Charlotte placed a hand on her son's shoulder. Connor, one day when you have kids, you'll discover your biggest fear is... I know, honey. I know. Do you want your milk? Will you let us finish if you have your milk? Okay, hold on, honey. Hold on. Here, look. Milk. Yummy. Oh, wow. So yummy. Can you hold it with 2 hands? 2 hands. There you go. Yeah. You gotta hold it like this with 2 hands. Yummy. Very yummy. One day when you have your own kids, Connor, you'll discover that your biggest fear is not always making good decisions for your children. And while I know that I will always regret the decision to let her stay, I will always know this was the right decision, Charlotte said. And you know as much as I do that your sister belongs here. Connor felt like he'd been ambushed. He looked to his grandmother, but there was no sign of an alternative answer in her eyes. What about school, Alex? Connor said. What about graduation? What about college? What about starting families of our own someday? Here you go, honey. Hold it. Are you just going to throw all of those things away? Alex wiped the tears from her face, even though they were quickly replaced with fresh streams. Here. Here you go, sweetheart. Look. Milk. Look. Milk. You want out to drink it? You want to get out and finish it? Out? Bless you. Whoa, that was a big sneeze. That was a big one. Here, look. Milk. You love this. You want to sit up? Okay, sit up. Sit up. Here. It's okay, honey. Here. There you go. There you go. Yummy, huh? There's nothing that you're going to say now or in a year that I haven't thought about 100 times, Alex said. This isn't easy for me either, Connor, but I know it's what I have to do. Are you telling me that you've been planning this? Connor said. He was so angry that she'd even consider doing something this drastic without telling him. I thought about it every day since we got back the first time, Alex said. I never thought the conditions would be so severe, but it was even in the Snow White prophecy. We just didn't recognize it. The Snow Queen's prophecy. One of the 4 travelers will not return. She was talking about you, me, Mom, and Bob. We are the 4 travelers, not the ones aboard the Granny. You're going to regret this, Connor said. One day you're going to look back at this, and you're going to wish that you hadn't left me and you hadn't left Mom. No, I won't, Alex said, because I couldn't live without this world now that I know how much it offers me. Connor felt like he was in a nightmare. Alex, I've never been anywhere without you in my entire life, Connor said. We can't live worlds apart. Don't you get it, Connor? Alex said. We were always meant to live worlds apart. It's the reason there are two of us. I was always meant to stay here and succeed Grandma in magic, and you were always meant to go to the other world and continue your storytelling. Do you think it's just a coincidence that you turned out to be such a good writer? Every fiber of his being wanted to argue with her. Every inch of him wanted to reject what she was telling him. But something about seeing his sister among the fairies made him feel like everything was right in the world, even though his world was crashing down around him. Alex stepped toward him and gave him the biggest hug that she had ever given him. We'll always be together, Connor. Hey. Here, it's right here, honey. You can drink this. We'll always be together in our hearts and in your stories. And every time you pen another story about our adventures in the land of stories, I'll be right there with you. And when that isn't enough, we can see each other in the mirrors. Esmeralda was the only one eyeing the portal. The gateway's closing, she said. You have to leave soon before you're all trapped in this world. Here. Honey, you gotta drink it for it to work. Yeah, here. For every tear that rolled down Connor's face, there were a dozen that he was fighting back. Okay, come here. Mommy will hold you. Mommy will hold you. Come here. Boop, boop, boop. There you go. There you go. He knew that there was no going back now. Alex had made up her mind. Yeah, you can look at it. Look. Look, you can see me. You can see Mommy. See? There were so many things to say and not enough time to say it. Connor made sure that his final moments with his sister would count and said the only thing that really mattered. Honey, give Mommy 1 minute, okay, honey? Up, 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 up. Here, honey. Here. You're okay, sweetheart. Honey, we're almost done. One more page. Sweethearts, one more page. Baby, baby, baby. Look. What's this? Wow. There you go. That's good. That's fun, right? Here, look. Yummy. Drink it, sweetheart. Stop fighting it. I know you're hungry. I love you, Alex, Connor said, and he hugged her. Honey, you're okay. Look. You don't want to be held and you don't want to be down? Both are not an option. You have to have one or the other. What's the bookmark go? I don't even know where the bookmark went now. Did Mommy lose her bookmark? Okay. I'll hold you if you want, but there's only two options, okay? You can either be held or you can be down. Those are your two options. Hey, 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 hey. Honey, honey. Honey. Sweetheart, sweetheart, you can't freak out for no reason, sweetheart. Can't freak out for no reason, okay? Hubba, 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 hubba. Hi. Okay. Okay. Are you ready? Let's finish it. I love you too, Connor, Alex said, and she hugged. Honey, give Mommy 1 second, sweetheart. Give Mommy 1 second, okay? Look. Hi. Hi. Honey, you can't freak out for no reason. Sweetheart. Sweetheart. Really? We're gonna cry like this right now with one paragraph left? Really? That's what we're gonna do? Honey, just give Mommy 1 second. Look, you can see screen, Mommy. See, there's Mommy, okay? Okay, we'll read together, okay? Look, look. I love you too, Connor, Alex said, and she hugged him back. Honey, 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 honey. You're really not gonna let me finish this one paragraph? It's so fast. Look, oh, wow, who's this? Who's Mirror Baby? Can you hold that? Honey, come on. Be a nice girl for 1 minute. Sweetheart, come on. You have to be up high? What's going on here? What's going on? Sweetheart, what's going on? Shh, shh, shh. What's this? Here's Stanley. Boo-doo, 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 doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Honey, look. Who's that? Can you hold this for Mommy? Yeah, very good. Can you hold on to it? Hold it. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? They could both feel the tears. Honey, honey, baby, give me 1 minute. Honey, sweetheart, sweetheart, you're up, see? You're up. Okay. Honey, come on. Baby, you have food? Honey, it's right here. Sweetheart. Okay. Look, Mommy's up. See? Mommy's up. But you gotta just give Mommy 1 minute, sweetheart. Can you give Mommy 1 minute? 1 minute? 1 minute, okay? No. Here, do you want this piggy? Can you hold the piggy? Okay. Do you want to sit in this chair instead? Here, look. Yay! Big girl chair. Okay. One by one, Lady Iris, Rosemary, Petunia, and Bob stepped through the seam between the worlds and disappeared. Charlotte gave Alex one last hug before stepping through it, and Connor followed her through. He watched his sister through the seam as it slowly closed, and the fairy tale world vanished before his eyes. They were now dimensions apart, and yet the twins were both finally home. Alex was right. Connor could still feel her in his heart. However, underneath the pain of saying goodbye was a lingering certainty that their goodbye wouldn't last forever. Despite what the fairies told him, Connor always knew in his heart that his and Alex's story was far from over. Whew! Sorry about that, guys. That makes reading real rough. When she just has no interest in sitting quietly for any time whatsoever. Okay. Wow. Thank you for letting Mommy finally finish the page. I could have done it a little sooner. It would have been done 10 minutes ago if you had been a quiet girl. We're going to go. So, tomorrow we will start book 3 of this series. Alex lives in the fairy tale world now. Connor lives in the regular world. Whoa, intense, right? So, maybe we'll have baby book club later. That would be fun. Maybe this weekend we'll go to the library and get new baby books for baby book club so that next week baby book club will have more. In case anyone missed it, restock is on the 3rd. It is at 3 p.m. I'm also excited for book 3. It's 3 p.m. for Patreon. It's 5:15 for the public. And then I will ship them all out, you know, over the next week or so in order of when they were placed. It's going to be a pretty big restock. There's a lot of stuff, so there should be something for everybody, which is great. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Okay, we're going to go. We'll see you all later. Bye, guys.